We'll start recording, and before I give the floor to Lilika, I actually have to also thank you, Lilika, very much for your support in this, because without you, it wouldn't have been possible. You have been really helpful and open throughout the whole process, and helped organize and discussed and invited Xavier and Valerie and Pascal, who is now with us, I think. Since they've been they are friends of you, actually. You're a group of friends, and this is also great to have you here, because it's like a reunion, I imagine, also for you.
We are friends and colleagues.
And
at
colleagues.
the same time, we have been working together. So have been sharing a lot of common experiences, definitely.
Yeah.
And all of us with different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Pascal Monet is also with us with the name Romy. You can see. Welcome, Pascal, to our
Hi, Pascal.
Nice to meet you. I'm Pascal, but my daughter's name is Romy. So that's why you see me as Romy Schneider, of course.
Okay. So just to inform you, Pascal, as well, and ask you, obviously, whether it's okay also with you to have a recording of this. We are
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So the recording has already started, and I pass the floor to Lilika.
So hello, everybody. Me also from my turn to thank Stella and, of course, Xavier, Valerie, Pascal. I knew I could participate because I knew that I have people that will participate also with me. I thought a lot what I was going to talk about because I have been having different roles in Haiti. I have been there as an artist, as Greek, as mother, as a decorator. But as I have three beautiful artists, gallerists after me, I'm going to leave the part of art and I'm going to talk mostly about the personal part, meaning why did I fall in love with Haiti? What is the Greek culture? What is the Haitian culture? And stay a little bit more personal. And so my relationship with Haiti was started in approximately 20 years ago when I met my husband, that he was half Haitian, half Belgian, but mostly grown up in Haiti. And in the beginning, before I go to Haiti after 2 years, I thought that all these stories about Haiti that he was telling me, I thought he was a little bit exaggerating that, yeah, okay, it's not so true. And, you know, until I went to Haiti and I discovered this extravagant country, and all the people were telling me all these extravagant stories. And it's only after 2 years that I said, he was all this time telling me the truth. But we come from a European environment, very well structured, where at this point, not now, we can foresee the future. So I go to Haiti, and one of the first people I met is Gaël Monet from the Gallery Monet. At that time, I am a hidden artist. I don't say to anybody, it's a big secret. And I start working in the Gallery Monet for 6 months, where I meet tons of Haitian artists, where they come to paint in the Gallery Monet, where every Saturday they meet with the father of Pascal Michel Monet, all the artists together talking, where I have artists that like me, I have artists that dislike me. So it is a beautiful experience. And all of that is happening at the same time that there is a crazy insecurity, that there are 17 to 20 kidnappings per day, where there are tortures, where we are under a status of fear, but at the same time there is the fear and there is the fire. There is there are shootings, and it is the first time I feel I am afraid for my life, actually, but it's the first time also I feel this liberty. I come in contact with artists like Sergio Andre, Pasco, Mario Benjamin, Pascal had come also for the summer, galleries like Gaël Monet, and there is a whole world that is opening in front of me. And this is how I got the Haiti virus. So either you get the Haiti virus and you love Haiti, either you hate Haiti and you never want to see it again. In 2006, I left Haiti. There was too many kidnappings, and at that time I fell pregnant, and I came back to Greece. 3 years after, with 2 kids, one 2.5 and another 9 months, we have the idea, why not go back to Haiti and why live a winter in the apartment? And meanwhile, Haiti has showed me, at that point I was working as a product manager, but all this meeting with all these artists made me understand that I just need to take a leap. So I quit the 9-to-5 job, I take this decision. I say, I'm taking a leap. I am becoming an artist. I am concentrating in my art, and wherever it leads me. With 2 kids after 3 years, and having done a lot of work, I go back to Haiti. 3 weeks after, earthquake happens at 2010. And at that moment, I'm called again to see if am I leaving Haiti or am I staying to Haiti? But that time I say, I'm not leaving Haiti. I found a beautiful paradise. People were happy. There was almost no insecurity. So I stayed, and at that time, I started making the first exposition with Galerie Monet about the invisible world, talking about the earthquake that killed more than 300,000 people. And this is how Haiti pushed me to art. This is how Haiti made all the right connections for me. This is how Haiti gave me all generously. But for me also, I was living with the Haitians. I was out in the streets. I was offering as much as I can. I was seeing myself Black. I wasn't seeing myself white at all. I was feeling Haitian. So there was an intense exchange. I continue, I meet a lot of artists, Marie-Louise Fouchard, a lot. I'm making expositions with them, a brand new world. I'm starting to working as a decorator in Haiti. Haitians are very open-minded people, meaning they will open your house. They're like Greeks. Very nice feel of, they're going to give you to eat, to drink, open your house for them. Very nice. While I'm talking, let me share some photos. There are photos from beautiful beaches, from expositions, a lot of photos I don't have, but anyway, we can have an idea. So I meet Kolektif 509, Zefira Nadia Todres, in an exposition of a Kolektif at Caliwes, that I'm meeting Valerie and Xavier around 2014, where this is the capoeira. We had a great capoeira team in Haiti that I attended for more than 9 years. And it was a social capoeira, meaning they were working in the more, dans des régions défavorisées, in places that were the poorest ones. So Valerie knows we were doing a capoeira together. So I meet Colette Saxonef. We live in the same compound with Valerie. And one day she comes and she tells me, I'm going to organize an exposition. Do you want to participate? We're going to be 9 artists. You know, and I had heard so many things from different people I didn't believe here. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I will participate. And 1 month and a half, I see her putting so much effort in the publicity, in all these artists she was able to find, so much passion. And I said, oh my God, this woman is talking business. And I remember telling her, Valerie, we're going to see each other in the exposition. I need to go and work. And this is how Kolektif Saint-Sonef officially was born. This is some art lessons I was doing the last 2 years in Haiti before I leave. And I would like to close all these experiences I'm sharing with you now that Haiti has taught me to live day by day. Coming from a society where we need to program everything, know what's going to happen, Haiti taught me, yeah, everything will happen tomorrow, si Dieu veut, if God wants to. So Haiti taught me how to let control, how to trust, how to know that at the end, everything is going to arrange themselves. And she taught me how to be a better person. So yes, there has been a lot of insecurity, a lot of horror movies, definitely. But the minute you overpass this fear and overpass this look, you see this fire, this love, you see God itself. So I love Greece, it's my motherland, but Haiti is c'est mon amoureux, it's my lover. So thank you very much. And I would like to pass the floor now to Kolektif Xavier and Valerie.
Thank you, Lilika. That's a great introduction. A lot of images and a lot of energy also coming from you.
Thank you.
A very obviously a very passionate lover, I would say.
Yes.
Sounds like to be. So passing the floor to Xavier and Valerie, I'm gonna just quickly reintroduce you again to the rest of the people. Xavier and Valerie started Kolektif 509, which Lilika just mentioned a few minutes earlier. And it has been one of the first art collectives, maybe, like not institutions, but the first art scene that we came across in our research through internet. I have to say. So we were looking, okay, what's there? What's in Haiti? How can we find like artists or people who are like relating to our interest as to art departments, art school departments, university departments. So we came across Kolektif 500 and we were like, okay, we have to find these people. Who are these people? What are they doing? So we are really excited to have you here. And it's, yeah, we wouldn't have even imagined in the beginning that we could reach you. And thank you for accepting this invitation. So the floor is to you and we are all ears.
Thank you. I mean, it's a pleasure. I mean, Greece is one of my go-to. I would love to go to soon. I've always thought I was Greek in a past life because growing up, I grew up in Chicago, so I had a lot of Greek friends. So when I heard about this opportunity, and I said, Lilika, this is amazing. So we're very excited to be here. Just want to give you guys, in case someone's probably wondering, why did we choose 509? 509 is the area code, the country code for Haiti when you're calling Haiti. So that's why we said Kolektif 509. That's a little background information. I'm going to quickly tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in the United States of America, Chicago specifically, and I moved to Haiti right after the earthquake. So it was actually the first time that I was living in Haiti, although my parents are Haitian, but my mom left when she was 18, my dad was 28. So I'm very much more Americanized. And I didn't know anything about art, nothing about art whatsoever. But I met Xavier in Haiti, and he really introduced me into the world of art. And I was absolutely fascinated and meeting other artists and seeing their passion, the culture, the colors, the energy, and it really motivated us to do something, right? Because we thought that there wasn't a platform at the time that was supporting specifically the young contemporary Haitian artists. We have amazing galleries in Haiti that have done a phenomenal job at supporting some contemporary artists, but more the classic artists. And we felt that, this was an opportunity to create, exhibit shows to showcase the artwork of the young generations that have not been seen. And so, as Lika said, in 2014, we had this crazy idea, Xavier and I, let's do our first show. And at first I was a little bit nervous because I didn't have any experience in the art world. I was just discovering my own artistic talent myself. But, you know, there's one thing is when you have that drive and, you know, you don't take no for an answer, you just, you know, go with it. And we invited 9 artists to participate in 9 Visions, and it was a huge success. And we saw that there were so many people that were truly interested in the arts in Haiti and discovering new artists. And from there, we 3 months later, we decided to do another exhibit. Same thing, it was a huge success. And it continued and continued up until we have exposed the artworks over 80 to 85 artists, and we organized over 36 exhibits. Not only in Haiti, we actually organized exhibits outside of Haiti in Guadeloupe. We participated in satellite exhibits during Art Basel, and one of the last one that we did was with Galerie Monet. So we are a fan of Galerie Monet. They have been a pioneer in the art scene. So, but Pascal can talk a little bit about that. I don't know, I'm gonna pass the floor to Xavier. Xavier is so knowledgeable about art. I think he has maybe thousands of art books in his collection. He is a serial art collector, and he can maybe give you a little bit more information.
Okay. Well, I have to say, I'm an artist, but I cannot be only different things. Art is a passion for me since like 20 years. And I fight against the fact I was an artist. I didn't want to be an artist. I was trying to have a normal life like everybody, working in a bank, or that was the plan. The plan failed. I did some exhibit in France with some French artists when I was a student, because I studied political science and business administration. I didn't want to be an artist. It was just something that was interesting, and I go more, start knowing artists, discover new artists, and work in my own art. But I didn't want to sell my art. I didn't want to show my art until some artists from Guadeloupe forced me in France to expose my art. When we came back to Haiti, it took me time before I discover, I know the network of artists, and I was kind of lazy. I was keep the idea of work in the bank system, of in business and different things like that. And the day of the earthquake was kind of very important for my art experience, because the moment of the earthquake, I was discussing with a gallerist, Atelier Jérôme, to organize my first exhibit in Haiti. We finished the discussion, we had an agreement of everything. The earthquake happened and everything fall. Few months after, Valerie forced me to do my first solo show at Villa Calais West. It was in 2010. We had to postpone it because we had political trouble, but it was a success. Since we did this first exhibit for myself, we did a few other ones with a second with Valérie and Sébastien Denis, who was a photographer. And after that, we did another one for some friends, artists, the group Film Plastic. And we started doing some little things at our place, but we was kind of tired. It was only us, and we took 1 year, didn't do anything, kind of. And when 2014, we start with the Kolektif 509, we didn't have any idea where we're going, because both of us have a job. We have a raising family, we have everything's like normal. Kolektif 509 was really something unplanned. We created that to...
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
But you had the most splendid house in the heart of Pétionville. Because I think, or at least when I think of Kolektif 509, I think of the house.
Yeah.
Yes. I love this house so much.
So a little bit about the house.
The house must be part of the dream, no?
Yeah. Yes. It's a 120-year-old gingerbread house. In fact, I can share my screen.
Exactly, you have some picture.
So it's a 120-year-old gingerbread house. If you guys can see, sorry, I'm trying to put my screen high. And it's been in Xavier's family for all those years, right? There's so much history. And as Pascal said, when people think of Collective 509, I think it's synonymously, they think about this 120-year-old gingerbread house. That is on
used to be a school that everybody and their mother knows in Pétionville.
Yep. A lot of people have memory there because before it was an hotel, but the first, I don't know how to say that. The first purpose of the house was a vacation house for the great-great-uncle who was super rich at this time. And this house received the Prince of Denmark, which became the king a few years after. We received some people, some celebrity when it was an hostel, like Pablo Escobar. A different singer, public person in the music and classical. Became in Haiti. But this house is in my family, but it wasn't used for, the hotel was closed for the economic reason. And the family lived there. And we decided to use it to make some exhibit with no plan. And we invite artists, give them the space, offer proposition to do what they want, because we want to have a space who's free. We have just to respect the house and do what we can do. It's why we receive different kind of art and different selection of the younger and the master, like Pascal, who is one of them, who did a big, beautiful exhibit. Yes, it was nice. And it was always open for all the kind of experience in art. For every artist, we receive people from outside. We take proposition from other people, like we expose a Mexican photographer with the Mexican embassy. We do some activity with the kids for the day of the environment with the Swiss embassy. It was always open to everything's nice, everything artistically. And we do that. I don't know, we didn't have plan. We just create. Because as Lilica said, we cannot plan in Haiti. They always have something new, a trouble, something difficult. That's why you have to get passionate. You have to want it. To make an exhibit in this house, sometimes it's difficult. The space is
what I love is the floors go like this.
Yes. The house is not that good, yes.
No, it is lovely because of it.
Depend on the point of view, because some people are scared about the safety, but there are some, the balcony is kind of dangerous, but
people scared about safety in Haiti shouldn't come.
Yeah, that's true.
They should stay home.
But it was a nice challenge to say, and we received sometime like 400 people for the opening, because they have like a kind of party. We received the people. We have the music, animation. We open to different kind of art. We did the, how you say that? The capoeira show. We're trying to lead some new things. Like this, in Valerie show some work we expose at Cali West, because we're trying to give opportunity to people who want to show their art. Because we have few galleries in Haiti, yes, the few good ones, but we miss public space for exhibition. And that's make the job of the artist really difficult. Because I just want to be an artist. I didn't want to be a creator. I didn't want to create the Colektif 509 at the beginning. I just want to create my own art. But in Haiti, you have to create everything, every step. Nobody helps you. Sometimes we don't have enough space like galleries to show the number of artists we have in Haiti. Because Haiti is like, art is like petroleum for Saudi Arabia in Haiti. We have so much creation. We create everything every day, maybe to keep ourselves in good mental condition. It's why maybe they shouldn't create, but we have it inside. We have the strength for express ourselves. And we create the Kolektif 509 to show it. Simply. Hello.
Great.
Valerie, if you want to explain some art.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of flipping. I'm trying to put my screen full, but for some reason.
It's the last symbol. If you go down to the right corner. Yeah, this one.
Ah, voila. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, you know, there's so much to talk about in such a short period of time. So we want to definitely give Pascal a moment to talk about her experience, because she probably has a lot of stories to tell. But yeah, I wanted to just quickly show you some images. As Xavier was talking about, the 120-year-old gingerbread house that has its charm, you know. And in the beginning, it was in such bad shape, and with every exhibit, we fixed one room, and then we had another exhibit and we fixed another room until we were able to kind of restore the house and with the money that we had, and really create this like cultural spot in Haiti where people can come and discover new artists. One thing that I wanted to show you real quick, and unfortunately I don't have a really clear picture of this, but this is actually a painting that Lilika did. And it was during one of the exhibits that we organized at one of the museums in Haiti. And it was an exhibit on the history of Haiti. We invited our artists to any paintings that they had depicted any historical events were participating in the show. And Lilika, this was the first time that Lilika explained to me the connection between Haiti and Greece. And Lilika, you could talk a little bit more, but this was the painting that she created with one of the Haitian revolutionaries, and his face is on top of a Greek statue. And go ahead.
Sorry. It was when I had found out, because I didn't know neither, that Haiti had sent help to Greece. And also I would like to say that we share the same lexical symbol, meaning freedom or death. Haiti has that, freedom or death for the revolution, and we have that also, Ελευθερία ή θάνατος. So I don't know if there was also an exchange there. And it's a painting that is made on canvas on a Creole book. There are pages of a Creole book behind, and there is a Greek statue combined with a Haitian shoulder, and wanted to show the connection between Haiti and Greece. Right now, if I would want to show the connection right now, I would go mostly into the Greek mythology and Haitian voodoo. But at that point,
six-packs, all the guys have beautiful six-packs.
Yes. Yes, this is what I was learning in Greece, painting statues. So for me,
I know.
I painted a lot of statues. So yes, it was a very nice exposition, Valerie. There were very beautiful paintings at this exposition that we had done. So yes.
Thanks. No, it was a great opportunity to share these little pieces that people don't know, that Haiti was actually very powerful and very influential, especially at the time it gained its independence, and it helped a lot of countries throughout at this time. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, at this time, Haiti have like the fourth army in the world. It was a very powerful country. Who was scared who win the France, Spain, and the British.
Well, now we have it all for ourselves. We have the whole army fighting against ourselves. Aren't we happy?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like night and day what we see Haiti now in 2021 versus what Haiti was in the past. Like we economically, you know, and politically, what Xavier was mentioning, we called it la perle des Antilles. The pearl of the Antilles, right? So anyways, back to the art. So these are just some images that we're projecting of artists that we've exposed in the past. And we haven't just done art, we've done artists that have done sculptures, installations, like Pascal had done an amazing installation during one of the exhibits. Sadly, I couldn't find the picture in time for the exhibit, and people who've worked with video installations. Here with Marie-Louise, this painting was at maybe 16 feet. It was about Rose Hottentot. Here we have a young artist, Xavier Dalencour, who is interviewing. So these exhibits were an opportunity for us to kind of push and encourage the young generation and make the linkages. And a lot of the artists that it was the first time that they've ever exposed. And now years down the road, we're hearing them, being part of Art Basel, or we hear that, they've signed contracts with like Timberland. So it's really exciting to see people growing. And that was the reason why we did this. It was to really promote Haitian art, not only in Haiti, but across the world. One thing that you'll notice also in Haitian art is a lot of artists tend to recycle materials. We take what people might consider trash, and we use it into beautiful pieces of artwork. So here we have an artist, David Boyer, who uses buttons and pieces of computers that he makes into these beautiful images. And this is his interpretation of Adam and Eve from the book of Genesis in the Bible. And here we have Xavier. This is one of his paintings that he did, I think. Yes. Maxence Denis. He also uses recycled materials and video installation, Kili. This is something from a recent exhibit that we did, this big painting in the back in the mural, that is actually Xavier. So, he has the hat of curator, art historian, art critic, and also he's an artist as well. Here's another sculpture. This is a collaboration between two artists together. So you see a lot of that as well, artists that collaborate together. This is the famous gallery, which wraps around the whole entire house. We've had many beautiful moments there with Haitian beer, great conversations, debates, some more pictures. This is a photographer, Babastuni, who projects his image. And that's it. I didn't want to take too much of your time. And I guess, I don't know, I don't have anything else to say, but Xavier, if you want to wrap it up, and then we pass the mic to Pascal.
I think you do a good presentation. The thing is, actually, we are working on the book of the Kolektif 509.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I hope it's going to be launched in a few. Everything, we are in the, I don't know how to say that, the mise en page, organize the book right now. Everything, I don't know.
Yeah, so Xavier's been taking the lead on a book that we will be releasing very shortly on basically the historical narrative of Kolektif 509, and we'll be introducing each of our artists. They'll all have pages with their books, their biography. It's the first version will be in French. Who knows, maybe if we get funding, you'll find one in Greek. And we'll be happy to share this book with you. And so thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to just share a little piece of our souls, our passion, our culture with you. I think this was a brilliant initiative, and we look forward to who sees what happens in the future. Thank you.
Collaboration.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Valerie and Xavier. That's a nice pass from Lilica. Now we had also some images and a bit better of understanding, and maybe we will come back to you, obviously, and to Lilica after we hear also Pascal, who maybe introduces even more into this relationship between Greece and Haiti through art.
Hello, everybody.
The floor is yours. Pascal Monin is artist and director, should I say, correct, Pascal?
I've been a gallerist. I've been the director of the Centre d'Art. I was born into art, and I guess I will die into it too. Well, that's not for now.
Not for now. We give you the floor and we are all ears, Pascal. Thank you for being with us.
So first, thank you for inviting me there, and happy to see all of you here. You know, when I think of Greece, I think of Jean-Marie Drault, who was a dear friend of my father, who was director of the Villa Medici in France. He's a Frenchman, and his love was for both Haiti and Greece. And he even had a museum in Ios. So, and he always told me how, for him, the most beautiful skies were both in Haiti and Greece. So I haven't been there myself to check it out, but I can tell you that the skies in Haiti are just amazing. Let's say in January, you can see the Voie lactée, and it's absolutely great. At the gallery, you know, when I have people coming, often people are like, ooh, voodoo, tell me about voodoo, you know? And I'm always kind of, because I know that people come with a fear. And for me to reassure people is like, you know what? If I want to talk to you about the pantheon of the voodoo gods, let's talk about the Greek mythology. Because the truth is, I think we have the same construction, because I studied Latin, you know, and Greek mythology, because I took Greek and Latin back in school. And so I've learned them. And maybe Stella, if you want to begin the slideshow. Because I'm going to begin with André Pierre, who's one of the masters of the voodoo art. He was a Ungon, a priest. And you know, there is the humans, the gods, and God. And the gods, which are the voodoo gods, they are like human. They make mistakes. They are beautiful and they're mean. And they're so in the voodoo pantheon, you're going to really find the same relationship that I found in the Greek mythology. You know, it's like, for example, Erzulie Dentor and Erzulie Freda. You see Dentor, we're going to see her a little further. This is Dambala, so it's the snake god. That's André Pierre, and that's a kui. It's something you put water in for the voodoo ceremony. And then let's say about Dentor and Erzulie, just to give you a little feel about how close it could be about the Greek mythology. Erzulie Dentor is married to Ogu Ferai, who's the god of war. But the god of war is having mistresses, not only her. And so Erzulie Freda comes in, and so they're having an affair, but she is at the house of Dentor. And there, when she comes home, Dentor finds Erzulie. So she takes the sword of Ogu that he had forgotten home, and they begin to fight. So Erzulie Dentor goes with the sword, and then Freda takes a fork, and she scars Dentor on the house. So what is interesting is Dentor, which is the wife, the woman with the children, the one who suffers with the children, she has the marks and she's really dark. Erzulie Freda is the mistress, and often the white girls, and she's like lighter skin, Freda. Actually, what we're seeing on the screen is La Sirène, and in the back, you see the guy with the green jacket is Ogu, not Ogu, Agwe. And Agwe has light eyes because Haiti is the crossroad of a lot of different cultures. So even in voodoo, you're going to find people from all sorts of background. One of the things we speak less about Haiti is the fact that there was Indians. And when the Spanish came, there was a big genocide. So there is almost no Indians left, or only a few. And so now you can find in the people some leftover of the Taino blood. And of course, then came the Africans, the slaves. We can go to the next image, because I think there's quite a few. So, and here, this is Dantor. I was talking to you before, you know, the blue, the black lady, and here she's got the scar. And the beautiful thing when you, because I was born in Haitian art, so my father would take me to André Pierre, and André Pierre is a man who sings his paintings while painting them. So he's the first one who explained me how there was a relationship between the sounds of the drums and the different rhythm and the colors and the loa, the spirits. And so, of course, again, this is the mermaid. And I always love to hear that at first in Greece, the mermaids didn't have any fish tails. They had wings, because at first they were proposing knowledge. They were not showing their tits off. It came after. You know, they were proposing knowledge, and little by little, we make them, they become naked. And now they're calling the sailor, come, come. And so in Haiti, we have La Sirène that is, and as you can see, she's absolutely gorgeous in the paintings of André Pierre. You can go to the next one. Here, this is André Pierre to show you a bit of the guy. He always had a bottle under his seat, so we would take it out and talk to you about the paintings. And with my father, you know, we are gallery owners. So at one point it was, oh, I love that painting, André. Are you gonna sell it to me? And he was like, not that one. This is medicine. So he was both painting for galleries and also for particulars. You can go. Now we're with a guy called Camille Rocher, and Camille Rocher died. It was amazing. At one point, my father, the gallery is working as like crazy. It's the 70s. We have buses of tourists coming up. The painters cannot paint fast enough. We're selling the painting. I mean, this is something we haven't heard since then. I present you Romy. And so Camille Rocher, at one point, my father is like, well, the sirens, they sell like hell. Can't you do a little more sirens for me? And Camille says, well, you know what? I feel the mermaid is pulling me by the leg. You can go with the images. Those are the Marassa Trois, you know, the twins, the three women. Again, can go further. That's Mambo, yeah, a Mambo in the Asson. And I just want to take you to the little details of the previous image. You see the white before, the one with the red dress? Yeah. You see the symbols in the background. Those are called veve. And those we say because you don't find it in the African voodoo, but only in Haiti. And they say it comes from the Taino. And so those signs are drawn on the floor with farine. How do you say that? Help with English speakers. Flour. Okay, so you can go now. Yes, so that's again, yeah, go further. Yes, there's the mermaids. And the mermaids again, because Camille Rocher, when we were, at one point they called us, and he drowned himself in not even 20 centimeters of water. And you know, him not wanting to sell us paintings anymore of the mermaid, and he died drawn. Now we are with Dubreus-Lérisson. You saw something of David Boyer with the computer. Well, Lérisson used to work with Ungan called Tibout, who had only one leg. You know, in Haiti, we're really cruel. If someone is missing an arm, we call him Tibout. If you're missing a leg, we call you Tibout as well. And so he was doing a lot of the sculptures. You can go, and he uses mirrors. You can, yes, and also dolls. And I think he's been, he's done a lot of Bizango. I haven't put so many pictures of the Bizango, but the Bizango are sculptures that are as big as a human and black, and they're supposed to be used in some kind of secret society. But, you know, they used to tell me they were done in 1804. And when there was the earthquake, I actually had done a show of them. And when I got to the gallery, all of those sculptures standing were all lying on the floor. And some of them were broken. So in them, I found tennis shoes that I think dated from the 1970s. So much for the 1804 sculptures. But, and I've always been fighting a lot with ethnographic museums, you know, who come to Haiti and they only want to have the real stuff, the consecrated voodoo stuff. But the truth is, voodoo is alive. You know, when I talk with Lérisson and I'm like, is this one sacred or not? He said, not yet, but I can have a ceremony made. So the idea of the ethno museum is that sanctified stuff has to be old, which when you have a really religion that is alive, you can make it today. And I think it's conception. And Haiti, that's what I love about Haitian voodoo, is that it's kept alive, because you can see that it's like voodoo is like a sponge. It integrates all sorts of things of modern life. So for example, you go to a Guédé hotel and you're gonna find Mr. Bean. You go to Erzuli Freda and you're gonna find Lady Diana. And isn't it true that the new gods are Lady Diana and Beyonce, Nastasia Kinski? So sometimes I think voodoo is extremely right on the way he sees society. And to be able to survive, it has had, that's Lérisson, so you can go further. And so for voodoo to be kept alive, because, you know, to become a free slave, you had to become Catholic. So of course, all the voodoo practitioner would go to the churches. And so you can go see a voodoo priest. He only talks to you about the gods, the Catholic saints. And so because we have, everybody would go to churches and pray their own gods. So that's what we call syncretisme. So here now we are with Franz Zephyrin, who you saw a picture with Lilica just before. And for example, this is paintings he's been doing in 2021. And he says that in Haiti, we live in a big cemetery. So he's going to do everyday life activities in the middle of the cemetery. That's what we're going on through right now in the Haitian society. You can go further. More Zephyrin. Again, you know, there it's the communion, and still, you know, the dead with the living. Here, I think you can see, and I took this one thinking of Le Cyclope, because really we play with a lot of symbols that are universal, and Greek mythology is full of them. we can go, you can go. Yeah, again, this one, no way out, you know, when you are in your own little bubble and you only have one life to live, and when the candle is out, it is out. You can go. Now we are with Georges Liotto, who's one of my favorite. He's been dead quite a while, but he's the founder of what we call the fer découpé in Haiti. So at first he was working with really thick, heavy metal, you know, that he was burning. But at one point, and he was with an American, DeWitt Peters, who opened the Centre d'Art, who said, well, there's tourists, it should be lighter. So that's when they decided to take oil drums, flatten them out, and do metal cutout. So this is an accouchement, you know, for every woman who had babies. Well, we don't see the face of the little baby down there. Okay, we can go further. I put a lot of images, Baron and all the guys, you know. And of course, now there is hundreds of guys working in iron, but I decided to show the one who came up with the style. Yeah. And that's one of the shows we did at the time at the Centre d'Art when I was director there. Because at one point, that's him. Look at his face. I mean, he's just, you can feel the strength of this man. We're back. Oh, now we're with Johnny Sineus, who works, and I saw also pictures of Valerie, of him. He worked and he began to work with Dubreus-Lérisson, but he pushed more into the mirrors. You can go with images. Yes, and this is called La Reine Corona. This is coronavirus. Can you see the little thing, the shape of the virus? And of course, with Saint Gérard, with the god of death, Baron. You can go. Yes, here she is, beautiful Reine Corona, who's turning our world upside down. And that's Johnny, beautiful young guy. I mean, must be in his 30s now. That was a few years back. Beautiful, beautiful Baron sculptures. And he's really, actually he's looking for a machine to cut mirrors because he's doing those absolutely magnificent works. You can go. Maintenant, now I'm taking you somewhere else completely. I decided to show a few of the contemporary artists. This is Manuel Matu, and he's in England, Canada, and now he found a really great gallery. You can go. He's the cousin of Mario Benjamin that you're going to see just a little later. Yes. You can go, and you see he's still figurative as much as being abstract. Here's the cutie. Yes, but the cutie is tormented. He's got lots of stuff inside that are boiling up. Yes. Here we are in an installation by Mario Benjamin, who's at first he was an hyper-realistic artist who did faces, and then he began deconstructing it. And I think it's important to talk about Mario Benjamin. He's really the one who came with installation to Haiti with a different concept. That's something he did for the carnival, where he used drums And I thought it was interesting to show you the drums after Georges Liotto, because there he took drums and he worked with the artists of Grand Rue. And then all of this was going around Port-au-Prince during Carnival. And that's one of his faces. Now there's almost only the scream left. Mario is 2 big eyes and 1 big mouth. I'm not sure, because, you know, I decided only 5 images per artist, which is not a lot to show what the artists do. So that's Mario Benjamin. And here are some of my art. This is a little Burton, you know, the Tim Burton kind of guy. And, you know, I used to use crystals because I'm a little girl. You can go forward. Ah, yes, that's me. And here, for example, I call it la déboussole, because sometimes in life you think you have one straight line to go from one point to the other. But the truth is, we don't have a boussole, but we have a déboussole. So, which is something that is not so precise, but life takes us places we didn't know we were going to go to. You can go. And of course, the portrait is done only with numbers. That was an installation I made out of the doors and windows of my house that was destroyed by a hurricane, because in Haiti, we don't only have earthquake, we have hurricanes, we have gangs. And, you know, I always love to say when I talk about Haiti, when I was in Europe, chaos was inside me, because everybody talks about how dangerous Haiti is, but I think Europe is dangerous for the mind of people. And when you see how much depression there is in that side, in the Occidental world, and sometimes in Haiti, there is chaos outside, and somehow you're going to find peace inside of people. You can go forward. And those are mobiles I made. They create big shadows, and those are done with beads, Haitian beads, and it's one of my angels. How did I call them? My chère et mes colibris, because it's both my girls, the faces, and then, you know, fragile and strong as how do we call them? Colibri in English.
Hummingbird?
Hummingbirds, because they're the hummingbirds are the smallest birds of creation, but they have the mechanic that is the strongest, because when they fly, they do 200 flap a minute. So fragile and strong as them. We can go forward. Now we are with Kili. Kili, he's an artist I have a great deal of respect for, because, you know, Haitians in general have had to travel. Exile is part of our history. So people travel, and Kili at one point left Haiti, went to Canada, lost his right hand doing stupid jobs, and began to paint with his left hand. So this is what he did just after he lost his right hand. And so there he was working, just began working with his left hand. You can go forward. Yes, and while he was in Canada, learned a lot about prints. And so a lot of his things are prints. You can go forward again. And as you can see, we're talking about death, crossroads, and movement. You can go. Yes, again, I don't know if it's a Marassa 3 or not, but it could be. You can go forward. And this is Haiti's art has been really few abstract artists. So that's the last show I did while I was in Haiti, where I presented a lot of Keely's abstract art. And then the next picture, we go to Sergio Andre, who has been one of the few abstract artists in Haiti. Next one, yeah. She talks about light. She's from the Artibonite, the heart of voodoo in Haiti. You can go forward. Here she is, beautiful Sergine, and she does cities, and she dreams often of a big river. And depending on if the river is transparent or not, her life is easy or not. Now that's one of her latest work she's doing about Rara, which is in Carnival when everybody goes out. And also for political reason, we do Rara because, you know, even when the gangs come out, I'm sure there's music. That's the funky thing and weird thing about Haiti, is sometimes it's a macabre carnival, but there's always fun, sex, and everything in life. We can go move forward. Here is La Sorcière de Salem. With all the guys she's eaten up.
And I think this is the last one, Pascal.
Yes, and then there was the PDF of the review. You can put it really fast, and I'll just do a short presentation because I don't want to be too long. Am I too long?
No, you're super interesting.
No, not at all, Pascal. Keep going.
Keep going.
Well, so not only do we have painters, sculptors, musicians, but we also have writers and good ones. And so the first guy to publish at Gallimard in France was a guy called Jacques-Stéphane Alexis. God, he was cute. I don't have a picture of him right there, but I should. And the first numero we did of Intranquillité was a special on him. So Intranquillité is 150 contributors from 40 different countries. So there is Haiti, but there is South Africa, right there, it's a French lady. I would say go faster with the PDF because there's 320 pages. So so the idea of La Revue Intranquillité, this is the 6th number, is to, because we don't believe in borders between the different types of art. So, cherchons salauds, sachant sucer choses sales sans se lasser. And this, I will not translate because this number is about Eros and it's quite hot. So you'll have to discover it for yourself. This is Jean-Ulrich Desert, a Haitian artist living in Berlin, in Germany. And so the idea of the revue is to, that's Jacmel Carnival with Josué Azor and an amazing text of Franck Etienne, who came up with a concept called le spiralisme, the spiral. And it's true that sometimes I think that in Occident, we've forgotten that we are stuck in a spiral. Sometimes you feel like people were there and they're going there, but they forgot that it's actually going into circles. That's a text of my husband, James. That's a guy, Kabiru, from South Africa, and Remé Desprestres, who's a master in Haitian literature. Do you have a bit of Haitian literature translated into Greek? That's a question for you, Stella.
I know I have no answer, actually. I should have looked at it. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if someone else in the audience knows.
There is, can you hear me?
Yes, Marina, yes.
Yeah, hello. Actually, I can only see myself now. I don't know why.
Because you're the most beautiful of everybody.
Okay, now I cannot see you. There is an author of the Haitian diaspora, Dany Laferrière.
Oh, Haitian diaspora. Yes, he lives in France and he's a French academician. Yeah, he's translated into Greek.
And he lives in Canada, I believe. And
he's in France.
Oh, he's in France. Okay. And he has been translated into Greek. There is only a novel of his which has been translated into Greek. It's a small publishing house. It's a very good translation. I've read the book, and I think this is the only one.
Oh God, not even Edwidge Nautica?
We'd love to hear more about the culture, about literature as well.
Because my God, there is guys that are monuments. And, you know, because of Haiti's independence, Haitians have had really early the idea that they belonged in the middle of everybody. Speaking of Jacques-Stéphane Alexis, who, when he came to the Gaston Gallimard in France, was, you know, he took him from up there, you know, and he was the first Black guy actually published. So there is a lot. And so that's the work of an English woman. Let's stop on that page. And I love that image. It's old Europe, supported by the Africas and the Americas. Leah Gordon, yes. And so the idea of the review is to put writers, poets, even filmmakers, painters, sculptors, everybody on the same level. And we take a theme, a subject every year, and that year was Eros, because I don't know if you realized, but if you look at 2019 into a mirror, it writes Eros. And then for the Haitians present, 2020 is actually Zozo. So it came out in 2020. So it's all about Eros. Because we wanted it in a time of pandemia, like all Haitian, when in Haiti, if you talk about death, you have to talk about sex, because death and birth are the different angle of creation. So when you talk about death, you have to talk about sex. So that's joli mot. And again, iron sculpture from La Croix des Bouquets. So I think it's going to be a bit too long if we go through the review altogether, but the idea is it can go and we can talk.
Thank you, Pascal. This is so rich. I'm sure, yeah, there is so much more, but it's already a lot for us, a lot of information. It's so rich and so new. Everything, and we had like an idea of very different artists, like working with different mediums as well, like different aesthetics. We didn't have this opportunity before. I'm gonna scroll through this PDF because there is a lot of more images, and maybe that will feed us more. But I would like to open the floor to everyone. And before that, let me also introduce to you, Pascal, Lilika, you have already met Valerie and Xavier. Also, Marina Kozamani, who just talked before, who is the president, let's say, of the university. I don't know the exact term in English, how that should be translated, but the head of the department, let's put it this way, the head of the department of the Department of Performing and Digital Arts, who is also co-organizing this. So Marina, I think your camera is off now, and you just had a great compliment from Pascal. I don't know if that's the reason.
I'm enjoying this very much. This is wonderful, and thank you for generously offering all this rich material with us. And thank you, Stella, also for putting this together. It's a great experience. It's eye-opening for us.
Let me tell you, this is so few. Haitian art is so rich.
Okay.
I just decided to show voodoo and the link to Greek culture, but there's so much more.
I see. Let me tell you, first of all, Stella made this introduction that I'm the chair of the department. Tonight, I'm not participating here in my professional identity as an academic. I'm participating as an individual because I am striking. I'm on strike because of the, I'm protesting the government's bringing a labor bill to Parliament today. So there is a strike throughout Greece, and I'm striking myself. So
we're striking too. We don't know for what.
We are all with you.
Every day we're on strike.
we are.
Sounds like Haiti.
It was very nice. It was not only a pleasure, it was great because we met you. We came close to you. This time when we saw all your work, it's like we approached you. And I can see, if you are interested, I can tell you that your work is something like an exorcism to death for me. That's what I read through all the work I saw. And it's not only a game between death and life. I think it's an exorcism to death more.
Oh, life is all over.
It's all over because it's the opposite. And when we create, you know, we know all artists very well. The big contrast is that we have to obey. So, of course, it's there all the time. It's really nice, and I like also your work very much. And the simplicity, but also the textures and how all parts are joined. It's like they talk your stories, but in a more abstract way. I liked it very much, and thank you for showing it to us. Now we are fixing a site. Maybe if you're interested, you can send some of your works of Haitian work, and we can have it in a special, you know, folder in our site while we are now we're going to begin our exhibitions, our search exhibitions for Haiti, and that helps. That's a fairy tale, that's a story, but we don't mind because the two countries began together their fight from freedom, and that's what's the main thing that we focused on. Thank you very much. If you are interested, you can send us for us or the book or some of the artist's work, and we will be very proud to have it with our work.
Yeah,
I'd love
to
make a
mention
connection.
also. Sorry, Marina. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I wanted to introduce this was Florentia Economidou.
Yeah,
she's a professor at the University of the Aegean, and this is the university which is collaborating with us in putting together this exhibition. So it's her students and our students who are working on this exhibition.
Yeah.
I want to support Florentia in her suggestion. We'd love to have the work. The review looks very interesting as well. And the art and the combination with the text. And of course, we would like to take the time to actually read some of this material. So if you
A lot of French though, huh?
It's in French. This is okay.
Okay, lovely. But you know, it's we have the chance to have also both people that are really well known and extremely not known, because that's the idea of the revue, is to have both, so that the young one can have an exposure, and that we have the interest of the press because of the old ones and because we love them too.
How frequently is the review?
Every year.
Every year?
Yeah, it's been 6 years.
Okay, great. And
well, actually, we stopped 2 years, so let's say it's 6 numbers on 8 years.
And it's all the arts together. It's literature and art.
Literature, poetry, philosophy, painters, photographers. I mean, the idea is that there's no borders. And even if when you see the opening of the chapters, there's pictures of people that don't do anything, because I think that people sometimes are artists without knowing, so you don't have to be creating to be inside the review. And we also have musicians, because we also do like standing performances of the review with musicians.
Standing performances, so part of the review is being performed.
Yeah, so we read text, we have musicians. So of course the music cannot be in the review, except if we find, we put the text of a song. But so we also do, when we do, we promote the review, we have a live spectacle. Yeah.
Okay. And that's a great idea. I wanted to ask you, when you showed this artist with the metal sculpture before, I don't remember what.
Giorgiotto, yes.
His name was, no, I think it was Baron.
Excuse me?
Do they do shadow puppet theater?
Do they do what?
Shadow puppet theater, le théâtre des ombres.
Actually not, but the show I did of those sculpture of Giorgiotto, I called it Lumière des Ombres, and I created shadows with the sculptures. But at first it was not done for that, no.
Oh, I see, okay. Is there a theater other performers outside the ritualistic performance?
Absolutely. There is, I mean, I think of Cito Cave, who wrote a lot of theater pieces. Even Franck Etienne sometimes does shows that are almost theater-like. Unfortunately, we have lost the 2 or 3 beautiful theaters we had in Haiti. So now the theater is in the streets, but there is Guy Régis Jr., who every year does a festival. But I'd say that it's been one of the arts that's in the last 10 years hasn't had homes. I mean, it's like cinema. We don't have cinemas anymore in Port-au-Prince. If we have a lot of filmmakers. No.
And what about performance art? Like maybe, like, I mean, if I imagine like more underground, let's say, performances that maybe happen in different spaces, if not like big theater productions.
I would say that in Haiti, poetry is still alive, which means you can go to a restaurant and people are going to say poetry, which for here would be performances, but there it's poetry. Then there is a bit of those comedians that do that, and some of the younger artists that gets into, but I would say it's more, the performances are more often from Haitians that have lived abroad that come back with that concept. But Haiti, in Haiti, you have performances everywhere, every day in the streets. I mean, Haitians are comedians, and you always gonna be, I mean, people that go and love Haiti and are not too afraid to go outside of their house will meet a Haiti that is full of performances, whether it's in voodoo, whether it's in the guys telling stories. There is something really performance-like in Haitian life.
Yeah, a performative element within the daily life, then.
Exactly.
I read it this way. Okay. Mm-hmm. But those people do, they do that as part of ritual, or they do that as part, like, do they present themselves as artists, or is it the way that life in IT develops or like performs itself, let's say?
I would say that some artists do performances, but the ones I prefer, the people don't consider themselves artists. Is that an answer?
Yeah. Yeah.
For example, you have, I see very well what Pascal is referring, and I can give an image of what she's saying. You have people that are selling plants, and they put the plants on their head in order for them to transport them. So right there you have a moving statue of a guy with a beautiful plant, or there can be yellow
or
plants.
medicine.
Carrots,
the guy selling the medicine.
Can be medicine that goes all the way up 2 meters. So these people are working. You can have people that are selling juice or that are doing the knives more. So these people are working, but as an artist, they are comedians, because they might be sitting on a chair that has nothing inside to sit, it's empty. But when you sit here, you sit.
And also in the markets, to raise your attention, they're gonna be yo, 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 and they're gonna begin.
So it is the everyday life that is full of extremely beautiful sceneries.
What is the review you are preparing on? What is the subject? What are you working on?
The next one?
Yeah.
Black answer. The black answer.
Answer. So what is
yes,
this about?
Because after George Floyd, I think Black people have to answer.
When is it coming out?
When we're gonna feel like it. I don't know yet. I would say, well, next year, around November. We're not so regular. I mean, Europeans don't like that when we present projects and you say almost in November. But now with COVID, people do understand that better. So I would say November, if God wants.
The image we are watching now, you still watch my screen, right?
That's an artist from Guadeloupe. Annabelle and her husband Henri Tullio, who do performance art. But you know, it's Guadeloupe. They have more performance. They're more European than we are in Haiti.
Okay.
So you stay all the time in Haiti?
Well, I was born there, raised in Switzerland, lived in Haiti until 3 years ago. Now I'm in France.
I love.
Sorry.
I love that against the colonial past of Haiti. I mean, you talk about ideas that connect every people that are there, and all the artists from different countries, no matter what.
Because the idea, you know, when they look at Haiti, they always want to say you're Caribbean or you're from an island. And us with the revue Intranquillité, the IN in Intranquillité is maybe the negation of being an island. And we want to be open to the world. And sometimes and I think Haiti being, having that place in history, even if nobody knows, but we have the impression that the way we look at the world might be important for the rest of the world. So what we say with the revue is, we'll never be in center, but we might be an epicenter. Because we can look at the world from down there, up.
Where is the review published? In France or in Haiti?
Yeah, in France.
In France?
This year, but we used to be published in Belgium. This year it was here in France.
Mhm.
And we are distributed by Sodis, which makes it available everywhere in the world. It's a good distributor.
If for some of our projects, maybe we want to cooperate with some Haitian artists. How could that be possible? I mean,
well, tell me. I mean, if I'm sure between all of us that are here tonight, we can share contacts of people that are interesting, and depending on the project, propose names.
okay.
So
I was wondering, oh, sorry, is someone taking, who is raising? Yes, Marina Maropulu. I'll just ask you to unmute so we can hear you. You need to turn on your... πρέπει να ανοίξετε το μικρόφωνο. Ναι, τέλεια.
Okay, thank you very, very much for the invitation, Stella. Good evening to everybody. I'm on strike, me too, and solidarity to the Greek workers now. Pascal and Valerie, your job is amazing. Valerie and Xavier, I'm sorry, and Pascal, votre introduction était extraordinaire. Merci beaucoup, hein? Merci beaucoup. I participate in this project as an historian, and I would like to ask Valerie and Javier if we can have a right to use as a photo the picture, the picture which has an emblem, I'm not, merde, je ne suis pas votre esclave.
Yes, you can use it.
That Xavier is the artist.
Oh, thank you very, very much, because that picture suits me very, very much. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
I was pissed off when I did this painting. I was pissed off at my job. I was working for a petroleum company. I hate it. And it was all the bad vibe I put out of it. And it was, I'm so happy not working for them anymore.
Okay. I use this picture within my paper about the connection between Greek fight for liberty and Haitian fight for liberation. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Professor Maropoulou is at the University of Athens in the law department. And
I'm an anthropologist of law. That is why I enjoyed very, very much the introduction, the cultural introduction of Pascal. Very, very much. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah.
Is there another question or comment? Raise your hand or use the chat as you like.
I think we have to take a boat from Greece to Haiti, all of us on that same boat. What do you say?
Great.
So now we just have to figure out where we meet, in Haiti or in Greece.
Both.
Between.
Or maybe we can meet at the triangle of the Triangle des Bermudes. It's not far from Haiti.
Yeah, we can figure out a way of collaborating, because we have this this project, and it's the 200th anniversary of the Greek Revolution, and this is our project for the Greek Revolution to explore the connection between Haiti and Greece. And there is a lot there that is extremely stimulating.
And there is much more than we have talked about.
Yeah.
You know, because, for example, Jean-Marie Dros, my husband told me he found a whole interview about him talking about the correspondences between Greece and Haiti. And really about voodoo, the religion, we should kind of go further in that research, even because, you know, I have that feeling, but I'm not, I mean, of course, it would be interesting with other people that are more knowledgeable about the stories of voodoo, but really, it could be research and it could be really interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you have the reference to that?
Well, the reference is only just the idea of Greek mythology having humans, gods, and God on top of them. Well, voodoo, the pantheon, is the same.
So the characteristics as well.
Characteristic. You know, the fact that the spirits have act like human. They're jealous. They fight. They put themselves back together. He has a child outside of marriage, and all of that we have a lot into the Greek mythology. Well, it's the same in Haitian voodoo. And unfortunately, of Haitian voodoo, what has been exported by Hollywood is the little dolls with the needles, but not the stories that actually make you more human. You know, saying, and I'm sorry, I just have to take out the light of that. So there is, we could do really correlation about that, I think. But then it needs more research and more time.
And even on top of that, when we think of like Greek Orthodox religion and their saints, that's also a correlation with Haitian voodoo and Catholicism.
Voodoo, all of them have their equivalent in Haitian voodoo.
Absolutely, exactly. So there's a lot of exploration.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to excuse myself because I have another meeting in 10 minutes.
This is okay. We thank you very much. It has been a lot of new information. And can I share? Is it okay to share this PDF?
Absolutely.
With the rest, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Thank you for
everything. Thank you very much.
I have 5 others. So if you're interested in having the links to the other review, I have that too.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, thank you very much for being so open and sharing all this and having this time with us, Pascal. We will be in touch, and hopefully this is just the beginning, restarting of getting together. Maybe not physically, but we are already meeting here, and this is amazing. So thank you very much for.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry to have to run.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye, Pascal.
Bye-bye.
But we still have with us Valerie, Xavier, and Lilika, and I was wondering, like, you have already shared, like, as part of your personal stories as to how Haiti has been really important and changing also the way that you see yourselves, the way that you identify yourselves. Like, so Lilika, you shared with us the fact that Haiti, you went back to Haiti, and that was also you're going back to art somehow, and like deciding that you're gonna be an artist. So going back into like being an artist, I guess, or taking that decision, and Haiti helped you to that. And that was something in common with Xavier, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you were pushed there to be an artist, and saying also that this was something that you even didn't want, you didn't desire that for yourself. So I'm curious as to, like, what is this? Like, how, what is this in Haiti that like...
It is the feeling of liberty, because you are all by yourself. There is no safety net. Either you survive by yourself, either you don't survive by yourself. This gives a great responsibility, fear also in the beginning, but this gives also a great sense of liberty. There are absolutely no rules. You just need to make it happen no matter what. There is no structure, there is no police, there is no fire department, there are no hospitals, there is only black and white. But the magic of that is that from all this black and white, there are intense colors that are coming out, like yellow and green and red. And this is why I believe also there are so many creators, because it needs to get all this volcano, it's fire, it's red, it's hot, it's a hot island. So all this energy needs to express itself somehow. So it is this sense of liberty that once you taste it, there is no going back.
I'm agree for the liberty. We need that. It is a place where everybody have a chance to create something, but it's very, very difficult. But everything is possible. But you have to fight. And one of the reasons people is more creative than other places is because we need our mental freedom. Life is difficult, and we need some space to express ourselves. We cannot change the country by politics, because mafia holds the politics, kind of. We cannot change the economic situation, because we don't have the control of everything. We are too close for the United States. That means we don't have all the freedoms a normal country have. For our history, we lived like a century and a half by ourselves, because a black republic in the esclavagist world and the colonial world doesn't work. It takes time to accept Haiti as an independent state. And some of the way they treat Haiti is, for me, is the way they used to. I cannot say it's racist, but before it was more racist, but the habit to treat Haiti in a bad way still exists. They didn't understand that. I think it's unconscious. It's very difficult in that way, but at the same time, the freedom is in our head. We have the chance to not have that much activity to do, like no movie theater, no infrastructure to be fun, but we have the knowledge, we have the imagination. It's why people create so much. And you cannot think about Haiti without the creation. We didn't taste the food because you're not a culinary department, but you can be surprised. People is very creative. We have to imagine Haiti is a mix of like Africa, since Senegal to Angola, and a mix of all the European and majority of France. A taste of Middle East, a taste of from Chinese, a taste of Latin American, and you have something very different. This country is different than the other Caribbean ones, as the closest ones is the French West Indies, but we are very different. We are not Latin, we're different from the Latin American country, like Cuba or Dominican Republic. We're not the same as the Jamaican, but we take a little bit of. It is, in that way, it's very specific in this area. And if you read the book of Samuel Huntington, The Clash of Civilization, it talks about Haiti as a isola, something like the Japan, but the Japanese is more numerous, they have more people. The country is bigger, but they didn't fit in the area. And Haiti didn't fit in the area. It's why we was isolated for a long time. We create our own specific way of writing, of painting, of sculpting. And nobody know like how poetry is important in Haiti, because people write a lot. People create music, people dance, people have a lot of activity. We create artisanal, we create craft, we do everything to keep ourselves alive. This is the benefit of the bad situation, in fact, of creativity, because it's our freedom and it's our mental health.
Yeah.
I think that's why we create, to be alive and still fight to be alive.
To add to what Xavier says is, I always refer to Haiti as kind of like the womb of the Caribbean. We are the first Black nation, and we opened up the doors for many other countries in the region for their freedom as well. But as we see, it came with a price. Haiti is kind of like an oxymoron. In my experience, it is a beautiful, majestical island, but at the same time, there's a lot of pain. And I think that the artists in Haiti are able to channel that pain into their artwork and to create these beautiful stories that they need to tell. If we look at the artwork that came right after the earthquake, we see an evolution in how the artists were able to kind of process that pain that they went through. So everywhere you find art, even the street signs that you see, the boutiques that you see out in the streets, the public transportations, which we call tap-taps, those are all colorful works of art. So I believe that, as Xavier said, and Lika, it's our form of liberty. We don't have the typical day-to-day operations as other countries. It's challenging to live in Haiti. Our hospitals aren't functioning. Schools, we don't know if the schools are going to be open or they're not going to be open. Water, electricity, these basic necessities and needs, it's not like that every single day in Haiti. And I just think that the Haitians, we just know how to make with what we have. Even the artwork, sometimes we can't find paint. And so you see, and by not having that opportunity, it forces people to be creative. They use coffee, they use different types of dye, they'll use food as dye. It forces you to
or you change your conception of your art.
You change your
Sometimes
conception.
you don't find black painting. Actually, It's difficult to have black painting. What do? You stop painting, or you create without the black?
You create without the black, and you discover something new. And so you see this evolution. And I think the Haitian people are extremely resilient. Yes, in every article that you read about in Haiti, they always start with Haiti is the first, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, right? But I believe it's really rich. I believe it is one of the richest countries in the Western Hemisphere. It's all a matter of perspective. If we're talking tangible, money, okay, yes. But if we're talking about culture and the access to freedom, we beat it.
I can share my experience when I participated in the Cari Festa in Trinidad 3 years ago. I was one of the representatives of Haiti. The Cari Festa, I don't know if you know, it's a cultural festival for the country of the Caribbean, for the community of Caribbean, with like the equivalent of European Union for the Caribbean, the CARICOM. It's difficult to say, but we was better than a lot of those countries, because people they was very good in one domain, and Haitian was working in everything. They have a lot of fashion. They have great fashion designer in Trinidad. That's from Barbados was coming, but we have everything. They can beat us in certain domain, but because a lot of formation or artists doesn't really have art school. The National Art School is kind of closed, or I don't know, they have some trouble, doesn't work. But people create by themselves. We are limited sometimes by the knowledge, because we are missing the formation, but people want to learn and they're trying to discover everywhere. YouTube is, I don't know, I've said formidable tools to discover.
An excellent tool.
An excellent tool, yes. And people want to discover. People want to know. And that's what they saw in other countries, like I said in Carifesta, I know a lot of will take inspiration and master it, because we need that. The other country is kind of, they have a normal life. And I think so that is very important for us to, we're not normal, we're not fit in anything. And that is one of our strengths. And it make it difficult sometimes to work with other people, because they don't understand. We always find a way to make it happen. We don't follow rules. That is another problem in other side. But we make the things happen. When you think about Haiti, they have a lot of numerous things you didn't think about that. Like we have in medicine, for example, we have people who is very brilliant, make a laboratory, we make world level research. When in the poorest country, you out of the street, it's disgusting. But inside, they create something which is worldwide recognized. We have worldwide recognition in the medicine. A few years ago, there was talking about some young people in new technology who create something impressive. But nobody know that. Even in Haiti, nobody know that. But people, especially when they love something, they are passionate. They create in every domain, not only in the artistic or cultural aspect. They tried a lot. They tried different things. They tried new techniques in everything. And I think it's what makes this country still alive. Because we should die a long time ago.
That's very interesting what you say, because I think we met some Haitian people that they were more afraid of the situation around them, and they couldn't find the hope at their country. And I don't think that they know those that many things that they are happening in the country. It's the same for every contemporary country though, because I think here in Greece it's the same. There are happening great things in small communities, and you don't know them if you don't look for them or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a matter
it's
of
everywhere hope. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, just adding to that, Manos, he's referring to the first talk that we had with the younger students, like 19 years old, that live in Haiti. And I guess it's also a matter of access, like how much, like who has access to education, or like possibility to create, let's say, even a space, like a space or like time in their life, or support, let's say, to that, to do it. And maybe that's a question, because you mentioned, Xavier, that the art school is closed, cinemas and theaters are closed, but there is everywhere, like art, it seems like art is floating from within, like in the streets, and despite the fact that there is no specifics. Yeah, sorry.
As Pascal said, we have a theatrical festival, but we doesn't have theater.
Yeah,
They create new scenography in different space. They do it on the street, on personal property, and people come.
Yeah, so
we need to have things to make it happen.
Yeah, and also Lilika, you showed us some images, and that's gonna come to like a short, maybe comment question. And then there is also another question from Maria Saritsami, which I'm gonna pass to you. She can't open her mic. But we also saw you were teaching, Lilika. We saw you giving painting classes, and you had also this capoeira workshops that you were attending together with Valerie. So I wonder, like, in which context this happened, and like, you know, whether there is, if there is no mainstream or like from the government, let's say, education offered. What other ways of educating yourselves and educating Haitian people are there available?
There are a lot of, sorry, please, you can finish. Stella?
Yes.
Would you like to answer something would you like to question something more? You finished?
No, I'm done. And then I'll just pass another question from Maria, but let's go.
So there is a lot of, it's not part of the government, but there is a lot of personal initiative. So I have given a lot of lessons in schools. I have given lessons in children, I was giving voluntary lessons every week at Delmat 42 in the Anna Montessori Center. It's an area that is not the poorest one, but it's not a wealthy one. I had 43 kids. So what has amazed me with the kids, because I'm giving also lessons here in Brussels. So what is amazing is that in Haiti, the children know the great opportunity they have when they can learn something, when they can go to school, when they have a teacher showing them. So all these 43 kids, you weren't listening anything. They were doing exactly what they were supposed to do. And I was, on the contrary, I was trying to give them a little bit more freedom in their actions, because they were really very grateful. So I had never thought of teaching, but there were some opportunities that presented, people that asked me to teach. And it is in this teaching experience that I realized that we are all artists. Everybody that creates has the same power of creation. There is the same light of creation. Either you create in your small little corner, either you create for the biggest gallery in New York. The power of the creation and the light that is coming and that you're channeling is the same. After, it has to do with how you promote yourself. It has to do with more practical things, but in a spiritual way, every Thursday that we were meeting with these 5-6 people that we were together to create all of us together, it was something very, very, very strong. So there is also Center that gives lessons. Pascal had given lessons. I think Valerie Noisette, all of us at one point have been asked to give lessons, and there is a great sentiment of voluntarism in Haiti, because we know things are very, very difficult. So you just need to offer and offer as much as you can.
Thank you. And I'm gonna take the question of Maria, who is, also taking it from Pascal's, like this connection between voodoo and we are pretty much interested also in this, in voodoo. We had there is this documentary made by, what's her name? American artist. My mind is stuck now. Maria, could you help with that?
You mean Maya Deren?
Yes, sorry. Thank you, Marina. By Maya Deren, who is a choreographer, who was a choreographer, but also made this documentary and has recorded voodoo rituals, both in video, but also has recordings of sound recordings. And that was happening in the 50s. So she was visiting Haiti during a few years, like a spectrum of a few years, and would make recording. There is also a book where she describes and captures like all her experiences there. It's a really interesting archive, like together the book, the recordings, and the video. But I haven't come across to any other artists or like this type of documentaries that maybe are historical. So this is one question, like whether we have like other sources to access this history of voodoo. And to make it more specific, Maria is asking whether there are some traditional voodoo songs for us to listen, or some phrases, words like phrases from the ceremonies where we could find, if you have any idea or information about that.
I think you can
In
find
YouTube, you can find
YouTube.
whatever you want.
Okay.
Yes. Before giving I don't know what Xavier wanted to say. When you are in Haiti, you live inside voodoo. There are ceremonies. You hear the sound of the tambour. There are a lot of different the fêtes that are being organized. Il y a beaucoup de la cour. La cour is where they are make the voodoo. So you want it or you don't want it, it is part of everybody's life living in Haiti. And it is a beautiful experience because the music is fantastic. You have people that are playing in a magical way the drums. That not only it bothers you, but it really creates an opening. And it lasts all night until 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. They go non-stop. But if you go to YouTube and you put Haitian voodoo and you name all of what Pascal named, Erjulie Dantor, Erjulie Frida, Agüe, Ogu, each one has his own songs and his own food that likes and its own colors and its own dance. So it is a beautiful way of living. It is you believe in the invisible. Everything is alive in voodoo, and as they say for Haiti, 70% are Catholics, 30% are Protestants, and 100% are Voodooism.
Thank you very much. I'm Maria. Thank you very much, because for me it's very important to research this song because to my performance, I prepare now my performance, and it's important to feel and to singing this. And also I try to find a connect and a path between one ceremony from Greece is Anastenaria. You know, Lilik, about this, and about to understand to research the way from the ceremony to ecstasy. How after this the people is more open and full of love and feel different and change and transforming the energy. I don't hear you.
You can take from the chat, so you can put these are some Haitian spirits very well known, so you can write down their names, and if you put that in YouTube songs, Julie Danto, you're going to find a lot of images, and it's very, very interesting.
And within the voodoo pantheon, you have, it's even divided even more. You have the Rada spirits, you have the Petro spirits. Rada is said to be spirits that were from, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Lilika, based from Africa, and Petro were the spirits that they found in Haiti. And each section of voodoo, they have drums and music that's attached to it. So when you hear of like Petro, the drum beat, it's more of like a warrior, it's more strong, or would that be, or not Petro, there's a third one, there's a 3 or 4 one, I forgot. Xavier, which one am I missing? Congo. Yeah, Congo is, it's so, yeah, in the chat, there are the various voodoo gods, but I put a name of an example of a Haitian singer who's very well popular, and I love her music. But
I am sharing a screen, I don't know if you see it.
Yeah.
Where there is, this is a ceremony of voodoo, where you have all these different symbolisms of white clothes, of the candles, you see the yellow colors, blue colors on the tissues. And actually, this is a ceremony where there is a white woman becoming priestess. And this is how I was able to get invited. So we have the impression that there are only Black people, but there are also a lot of white people. This is the voodoo art that is hung on the wall while the ceremony takes place, and it goes on. And this ceremony took place for 1 week, non-stop.
Voodoo songs are like prayings. Or you go in a different reality, let's say, you approach a different reality. What are you trying through voodoo?
So voodoo uses this music that is a very intense music, a fire music, in order to call the spirits, les lois. And there are people that we call them the horses, meaning that the spirit takes over you. It takes possession of your body. And while the spirit takes possession of your body, your voice can change. Maybe you're not smoking, but you want to start smoking. Maybe you want to start drinking. You're doing movements that I have seen it with my own eyes. You need to be a champion of athleticism to be able to do these movements. If something hasn't not taken over you, you cannot be doing all these movements, unless if you are the world champions athleticism of the world. So this is, but not everybody wants to be mountained from the low spirits. There are people, each one has its own role during the voodoo ceremonies.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question.
Can I ask something else? I know that music plays a big role on this. Visual arts do the same. Let's say you feel the music, and then you feel more of the spirit come into you. This happens with practicing and painting or doing some other things too, except
I would say mostly the symbolism, and mostly what Pascal mentioned, the veve are same symbols. Each spirit has its own symbols that they put down with a flower. So they just make beautiful, symmetrical, that you can see also in YouTube, symmetrical designs that are with the flower. So this is art, but it's not, I haven't seen so much the plastic art, this art that you're referring to. It's mostly the music, the symbolism, and the veve. And I don't know if you guys, Xavier, Valerie, you want to add something?
It's also, sorry, just to add to that, the drums are considered to be sacred, like are considered to be kind of like spirits as well, or like maybe gods, I don't know, like, but they have
different drums, and each drums work for each ceremony. And they have family of drums, and they're not really sacred, they have different type of. And the way they play it is kind of different of how they play drums in Africa or other country. But they have some drums so it's for the Petro ceremony, they have some for the Rada ceremony, and they are made differently. It's not like you choose this one for this one. No, each is different. That's why because we have to take in consideration the fact the Haitian is from all the west coast of Africa, all the Atlantic Africa. And they bring different culture, it create the mix.
Right, because the Haitian, there's differences between Haitian voodoo and Haitian voodoo in Africa, although there's a lot of similarities, but you have to keep in mind, at the time, you know, there were various tribes in Africa that at once were at war with each other. And during the slave trade, you now have put them all together. It's their different languages, different cultures, different religions. The only thing they had in common was the color of their skin. And so when they came to Haiti, they merged all of these cultures together. And so we have a different type of voodoo that is being practiced together right now.
But you have to take in consideration the fact of each region have their own tradition also.
Exactly, exactly.
People in the north is totally different of people of the south.
In Haiti, even the dialect and the way they talk and some of the phrases that they use are different because
in the north, for example, they put the death in the cemetery. In the south, they keep it in the family land. So the tradition is very different, and each town has something specific. And I think it's the way they are in the plantation, they segregate the slave, they choose this kind of people for this type of work. And at the end, 200 years after, the mix is different, small mix of culture. In different places, you can find some more African or some European tradition also, because we take a lot from the French. Because in the Vodou, because they have some of the magie, I don't know how you say that, the mystical part of the European came in Haiti also. So they have few traditions like the Lougaou, it's come from the north of the France. The Lougaou is kind of they doesn't have wolf in Africa. They have wolf in Haiti. The Lou is wolf. And it's kind of a wolf can transform on human. It's a French tradition. And we have to take in consideration the fact we have the native Tainos also.
Had their own traditions, exactly.
It's difficult to understand the mix, and a generalization of Haiti is not perfect.
Right. Because you have the culture from, you know, Africa, and then the colonizers. So you have French, we had Britain, Spanish, because at one point the whole island was one country, right? So the Taino, the natives. So Haiti truly is a melting pot. I don't think people truly really understand that it is a melting pot of the world.
Just to connect maybe what you were saying, Floredia, your question, with what we saw, the images that we saw earlier from Lilica, and I'm not going to take much more time. So if there are any questions that are burning, please keep them in mind, and then right after that, maybe we can take one or max two more questions. But connecting Floredia's question with the images that we saw earlier from the voodoo rituals that you shared, Lilica, there were some paintings hanging on the wall. So what is the role of those? I guess these are not old paintings, they are like contemporary artists who make them. So what is the role of those drawings, those paintings in the ritual?
These can be paintings that people that have been served already, done in the laku, have offered them. All of these paintings are not decorative. They have a symbol. They are offered to the loas. They can be paintings from the streets. They can be offerings. They can be paintings that the spirits have asked. So the voodoo art is unlimited. There are crosses everywhere, bones. It's unlimited. Everything that Pascal showed, all these artists, there are no limits. Now the use that the paintings have, it depends on laku, and mostly there are offerings to the priest or to the priestess for works that have asked them to done and that they have been done.
I think it's also no different than, you know, when you go into a church and you see the icons, you see the saints, Saint Peter, you know, so that's the Haitian version or the voodoo version of an icon, the same, yeah, it's the same type of, I'm losing my train of thought, but you guys know what I mean.
Like ex-votos.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions or comments from you to our guests?
I wanted
just if you can raise your hand so that we can know how many people wanna. Yeah, Marina, and then Manos. Yes.
Can say something and then I can ask.
Okay, then Mano.
I just want to make a very little comment on something I saw that, and it was very interesting in my mind when Pascal showed us the coronavirus art. There was something like a painting on the other side of the and it was so alike to a saint, the way we in the Byzantic way of painting, I mean. And I was thinking, what's the connection? I mean, how did they had that image in their mind? It's just a comment. I believe there are no answers to this question, but yeah, exactly. It looks like
this is Bawon Samedi in the Haitian law, and he is synchronized with the Catholic saint, j'ai oublié, I forgot. I'm looking on Google right now. It says Saint Martin de Porres. Yeah, so Bawon Samedi is, Pascal was saying, he is like the god of death. And so, because every law, and the reason why you have the connection between voodoo and Catholicism is when the slaves were practicing their religion, their masters did not want them to practice their religion. And so they covered up who they were praying to with the saints. So when they wanted to reach out to Bawon Samedi, they would pray to the Catholic saint, I think Saint Martin. I could be mistaken, but it was a specific Roman Catholic. So when the slaves saw them praying, they thought they were practicing their religion and not the African religion.
Thank you. And they both have a crown, the crown of a saint and the crown of corona.
We find that in a different way in the voodoo, because the syncretism of the Catholicism and the voodoo is very important. And if you don't understand what they have behind the image, you can lose a lot. Nothing is kind of clear in Haiti in that way. They always have something behind. You have to understand the codes, because you can spend a month visiting and doesn't get it. Because everything is kind of behind something, everything, it takes time to discover. It takes time to go inside the intimacy, the spirituality of the people. Because they have the habit to give you like a mirror to see yourself. And it takes time to understand who is the person, the real person, to know what the spirituality, what is they have inside their family. Because one of the things is important to understand in the voodoo, it is a family cult. They are not, you can spend years in Haiti and never seen a voodoo temple if you don't know where to go. It's family, it's private. You will never have someone who try to convert you to be a voodooism. No, that doesn't exist. You have to make the work to go to the voodoo. It's a personal thing. It's why it's difficult to, you can be in Haiti and think they are just Christian. If you want to see that, they will give you that. Because the voodoo have to hide, and people doesn't give themselves directly. It's very important to understand that, because the voodoo was always been discriminated. You can see what Hollywood do for the voodoo. Everybody in the world know the zombie, but this is a Hollywood zombie. They doesn't know that that exists, but it's not the same thing what you see in the TV.
Yeah, like the voodoo dolls with the pins. I don't think that exists. It doesn't exist in Haiti. That is something that Hollywood, and from what I was told, is that when the US was occupying Haiti in 1919, Xavier, correct me if I'm wrong, you had an influx of the Marines that came into Haiti. When they were done with their mission, they went back to the United States, and then Hollywood heard their stories and they exaggerated the stories. And then that's when The Serpent and the Rainbow, which was a huge movie that came out that started talking about Haitian voodoo. And then we got into people thinking voodoo dolls, but that doesn't exist in Haiti. That's not part of the culture.
Voodoo is supposed to be positive. And when they say someone do something negative, they say they use both hand.
Right hand and left hand.
Right hand is good, left hand is bad.
Yeah.
The real priest of voodoo only use the right hand.
Well, the essence is to serve. It's to serve your brothers and sisters. It's not to serve yourself, but it's to help your brothers and sisters. How can you better humanity? But unfortunately, with anything, people can use the same wisdom and knowledge that they have for bad things. And
exactly. I think everything the bad things you see on the movie is not considered as voodoo in Haiti, but is a black magie.
And there is also no hierarchy in voodoo, meaning that all priests have the same power. There is no a priest over another priest. Tout ougan membai.
Yeah.
All the priests are in the same line.
And
no hierarchy.
And they have the equality of women and men.
And men.
In your opinion, voodoo helps life in Haiti?
Yes, I think it's helped.
It helps.
I think it's helped, but I think what is not good for us is deny our tradition. I'm not from a family into voodoo, but I know it's one of the tradition of my country. I cannot deny that, and I think the denied is worse than everything.
Yeah, and what I'm saying is, in your opinion, we're not practitioners, a lot of us, also if we are Christians or not, but I say that sometimes praying is a benefit to the person who is praying. Is the same to you, voodoo? It's an everyday thing that happens in your life and it helps the same way. Or it stops things, because sometimes we know that religion stops. It doesn't only help, but makes frontiers also. It's the same with you as I don't know.
Voodoo is part of Haiti's culture, like
Yes.
church and Greek Orthodox religion, even if Voodoo is not a religion, is part of Greek culture. So
I say nowadays what's happening. It's a part of culture, it's a part of our past, it's in our blood, it's in your blood. But nowadays what's happening is
the same thing, the same thing. It is very present. Haitians live with the invisible together. The voodoo can be in the trees. You can see it every day in the trees. They are talking. Sometimes they're talking all by themselves. You're going to see a lot of Haitians talking, walking and talking by themselves. It's part of the culture, talking to themselves, or talking to the spirits, or talking to God. So the invisible is always there. For me, from my personal experience, as you mentioned also before, dance, music, offerings can only help you move on, especially in very difficult times.
And I don't know if Valerie and Xavier want to add something to that, or we can have the question of Marina that has been waiting for some time.
This is in response to a discussion I had with the students who are preparing, working on the exhibition that we're going to have. And of course, our starting point was the present that Haiti made to Greece, which was in 1822. The Boyer, the president of Haiti, sent a letter recognizing the Greek Revolution and the Greek state. And this was the first state in the world to recognize the Greek Revolution. That was a very important act. So this is our starting point for the exhibition. And there are myths and connected to that Haiti sent 100 warriors to Greece and some coffee, grains, and the ship, there was a shipwreck, they never made it to Greece and so on. But the students felt that they wanted to make a present to Haiti now in return. And they were wondering about what they can do. Of course, this is difficult, if we're talking about a country we don't know. And are we talking about us as individuals? Are we talking about Greece as a state? This is more difficult. We're talking about ourselves right here and now. And so I wanted to ask you if you think there is a present that this team that we have here could could give you, could give to the Kolektif, maybe 509. I mean, of course, it's hard to know, what to give you that would be of value to you and that would be of use to the community. And this is an entirely different picture that we get here of Haiti in relation to the first meeting that we had with Haitian, young Haitians who were 19, two of them were 19-year-old and the other was an unemployed teacher in her early 30s. They came, two of them came, I think, from rural areas, and they were destitute, desperate. It was an entirely different picture that they drew of Haiti. So this is like as if we're stepping into another world here. And they were asking us for help, actually. And in fact, there is a text they have written, there's a poem. It's an entirely different approach. So we've been wondering about this. And you don't have to answer now. You can think about this, and we can explore together and see if there is something that we can give you, either, you know, the team, or I don't know if we can go beyond the team. Of course, Greece, the Greek state remembers that there was this gesture on the part of Haiti. And even though Greece is not a rich country, it does send aid to Haiti. Over the earthquake, for example, there was a Greek presence and support.
Yes, and they even saved a child. The Greek team saved the child from a building that had fallen down.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
I had met them, yes.
Maybe Lilika can help us, who knows both cultures well. And so then we can see if there is something we can do.
Personally, I would like to collaborate with you as artists. Personally, I would like to collaborate with you as artists. First of all, we started an exhibitions with our students that imagines this first liaison of Greece and Haiti. But now that we saw each other, we saw your work, and you can see ours. Maybe in the future we can organize at first an online exhibition, and then maybe the states, our state, if can help us, and we can organize it, and maybe if coronavirus is past, not present, we can meet in an exhibition. But I think we can organize something together, like artists of the world.
I think that this is a great idea.
And we do want to explore intercultural work, and then we would love to also show you the work we are preparing and to see how you feel, because we are trying to approach Haitian culture through Greek eyes. So we are curious to see what you would think about that. We have a catalog which we will be printing of all the work. And we have animation, visual art, performance, and video performance. So we would love to have you comment on what you see. I mean, we would be interested in this, but if there is also something that we can do, of course, the exchange is a great idea, and we would love for Haiti to have a greater presence here. Of course, it has no presence. I mean, we commemorate this great act, brave act of Haiti towards Greece, but of course, it's not as if we know Haitian culture. As I said before, the only book that I know of that has been translated into Greek is Danila Ferrière, and that's it. And of course, you would expect, you know, if Greece is grateful, for Haitian culture to have more of a presence here. So this is something that we certainly can explore and we're interested in. And of course, the organizing of this discussion is a first step.
And if I can add, this began from a tale, an oral tale, that tale of liberation. Let's, now that we meet, and we meet in person, even if we're not together, let's do something for the present and organize something together, maybe as a second exhibition, an online exhibition, and meet better each other through art. Because it's something that we can succeed. It's what you do and what we do, and we can do it in our own way. We don't need someone else. We don't need help. We can depend on our strength and forces, both artists in both countries.
yeah, we can have a project perhaps which you can work on your end and on our end. Or
This is a great idea, and I believe it's through individual initiatives like that that we can move forward. We cannot. What Haiti has taught me is that there is no savior. We need to save ourselves and move forward ourselves. We cannot wait for San Nicolas to come and save us. We need to move our hands. So with Kolektif Section F, as you saw, Galerie Monet, there are tons of artists. There is ton of material. There is ton of material from the Greek artists also. From we have common experiences. So I really believe it's a beautiful, beautiful idea, and it is a very, very beautiful way to start.
Yeah, let's begin from us and our friends. We saw your work. You can you have your own artist friends. Let's meet each other more and do something together.
Yeah, maybe we can do something, if we organize something as part of this project where we sort of like present the works or our approach, the students present their works, we can of course invite you and then have like an exchange from the other side and then take it from there. So we had your view now, and then maybe when we show like what we have started to be working on, if you want to be there and have a look, and then that will lead us to where it goes, I guess. So it doesn't have to be super planned. I was also thinking that maybe apart from the catalog when it's printed, I worked with cards, like, you know, postcards. So maybe we can like just, you know, be up to send you some printed postcards of our works, and maybe with some messages, and that would be like a small gift or something, like not like just as symbolic, like from the works of the students that you can have in Kolektif and Galerie Monet, maybe just as a.
This is seems like a good idea. We can certainly. I mean, this exhibition is going to several towns in Greece. We are in demand, even though it hasn't opened yet, but it's continuously evolving and changing. And so it's possible that we can add something to it. Some of the works of the students, we are including one of the Haitian, the young people we talked to. He wrote a poem in Creole, which is it's called Sa Promesse, and it's in Creole, and he's reading it on video, and we are including this in the exhibition. And then there is another work which includes a text. It was a reaction to a video that this teacher, this unemployed teacher, saw, and then she has a text asking for help. So there is this voice. So we have a token of Haitian presence in the exhibition, but we certainly would like to know more and get to know it. I mean, it's very enriching, this experience.
And also, I am looking for someone to work together, an artist in Haiti. Yeah, I don't know if it's
Manos
the right
too,
moment.
looking for someone.
I don't know if it's the right moment to talk about it, but yeah, we would love to work together.
Yeah, you can contact maybe Lilica or Valerie or Xavier afterwards and see if they can connect you to someone, explain what you're doing, and then see what there is. And maybe this can be a starting point. But let's all think about this. And
let's sleep with it. It is already a lot of information, and it's such a great pleasure to meet you and like have a first contact. we don't want to bombard you with ideas. We do. I'm sure we all sides have like proposals and ideas as to how we can move forward with that. I'm sure this is just like a beginning of a journey. The exhibition, as Marina said, is going to travel, and we are going to travel with that. And in our journey, we want it to be enriched. And you are definitely enriching this. So yeah, maybe we will certainly keep in touch. I see some people already write their emails. I'm happy to share if you are okay with that. And yeah, the information is here.
Of course.
And
of course,
we put our email on the chat.
Yeah.
Also.
Great. So then we can take different paths, and maybe in some paths we meet all together again, or have smaller clusters. But certainly we're very happy to meet you at first. I don't want to keep you longer because we have already passed quite a lot of the time the 2 hours that we had planned. So just maybe to close with that and sleep with our thoughts and your images and your information, and then come back together and meet and propose and discuss.
And we can include, as Florendia mentioned before, in the site that we have, material on Kolektif 509, or any material you want to share with us. And even this video also, if you agree, and you know, if it's not a problem, we can make it available.
Yeah, please send it to me and I can upload it on our site.
In the chat pod, Xavier also gave a PDF file, which kind of gives like a summary of all the artists we've worked with and a little historic of our past. And I also included the link as well. But definitely, we need to continue this discussion. It was just such a pleasure, and this is such a beautiful initiative. And I really look forward to seeing what can come out of this, and let's educate the world. Let's let them know this connection, because a lot of people don't know about this. And I think art is an amazing tool to be able to share this story with everybody else. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you.